We believe the testimony will then be that that very moment after she shot and killed her mother, she then hides that gun back out of the camera, walks back into that kitchen, sits down on a stool with a gun behind her, picks up her mother's cell phone, puts her mom's passcode into the phone. We believe the testimony will be that then she texts her stepdad and said something to the effect of, "When will you be home, honey?" Testimony will be that then she waited for him to respond. "I'll be a little bit longer." She sends him a thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe the testimony will then be that after she puts the phone back down and walks out of sight with the camera, that between the next 45 minutes or so, that the defendant reaches out to or attempts to reach out to about 5 or 6 of her friends. Some were FaceTime, some were text messages. We believe the evidence will show that during this time, she was asking them all for help, trying to get them to come over to her house. She wouldn't tell them why. We believe that one of them's going to say he even offered to call 911, and she told him no. The evidence will also be that one of these friends did in fact come over to help Carlee that day. She didn't know why, but she knew that her friend needed help, and she went to that home. We believe the evidence will show that when that friend arrived at Carlee's house, that Carlee walked to the front door, asked her, "Are you squeamish around dead bodies?" We believe the evidence will show that then she took that friend and showed her her dead mother laying on the floor. We believe the evidence will show that after that, she says, "I put 3 in my mom, and I got 3 more waiting for my stepdad when he gets home." We believe the evidence will show that then she tells this friend, "Hey, why don't you go wait outside in the backyard? My stepdad's about to be home." This friend will testify that she does go in the backyard and she hears gunshots. And the next thing she sees is Carlee coming out of the back door. We believe the testimony will be that she fell down coming out of the back door, gets up and tells her to run. And these 2 individuals, this friend and Carlee, jump over the fence and run separate directions. You'll hear testimony that there was a 911 call. You'll hear a frantic Heath Smiley telling the dispatcher, "Oh my God, she's killed her mother. She hit me in the neck, it grazed me, she tried to kill me too, she's run off." You'll hear from law enforcement when they arrived on the scene that Carlee Gregg had fled the scene. You'll hear from law enforcement that when they arrived on the scene, Ashley Smiley was very much dead in the floor in Carlee's bedroom, and that they found that Heath Smiley had been shot and hit in the shoulder, through and through. You will hear from law enforcement that sometime after the day of the event, they learned that there was cameras involved, that this home had surveillance video. You'll learn that one of those videos was turned over by the living victim, Heath Smiley, and it shows Carlee Gregg and her friend jumping over the fence. And then you'll learn that there was another camera in the house on March the 19th, 2024. That camera was in the kitchen, and that's the camera that Carlee was hiding the gun out of sight of. And you'll hear that that camera was not in the kitchen when law enforcement got there, and it was not in the kitchen where it should have been when Heath Smiley got there. It wasn't until sometime later that that camera was discovered. Ladies and gentlemen, you will hear that Ashley Smiley's cause of death, gunshot wounds to the head. Ashley Smiley's manner of death, homicide. You will hear that Heath Smiley says, "Carlee Gregg is the one that shot at me." And on his 911 call, he said that she tried to kill him. You'll hear him say that he did not move that camera, the only other person living in the home. Ladies and gentlemen, you also hear from forensic scientists from the Mississippi Forensics Laboratory You'll hear that both of Carly Gregg's hands tested positive for gunshot residue, both the right and the left. You'll hear that the .357 Magnum that was used to kill her mother and shoot her stepfather, they took swabs. They took a swab of the trigger, and they took a swab of the hammer. And you will hear that the DNA profile that matches those swabs belongs to Carly Gregg. Ladies and gentlemen, you will also hear that there were 2 projectiles removed from Carly Gregg's mother, Ashley Smiley. One in her brain, one in her neck. And that those projectiles were tested with ballistics, and that those projectiles matched the .357 Magnum that Heath Smiley took out of Carly Gregg's hand that day on March the 19th, 2024. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this trial, after you've heard the evidence, the state will stand before you, and we will ask that you find Carly Gregg guilty of murder, attempted murder, and tampering with physical evidence. Thank you, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to make its opening now, or do you wish to defer?